What the hell is up, YouTube? This is your boy Bearded Kingface, aka Essential, here with another reaction / review, and I'm excited about this one. I'm joined by Travis Scott, Astroworld. Let's get right into it. You know the drill. I want you to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so my videos end up in your feed the second they are posted. Like this video, comment, show some love. That's the only way it'll grow, and I know you want to do it, so let's get into the content. Jacques Berman Webster II, aka Travis Scott, aka Trav, aka Cactus Jack, aka La Flame or Flame. Man, this rapper is straight out of Houston, born in 1992. Young dude, he's been on the scene for about 6 years now. Now, Travis Scott actually kind of got a start in hip-hop back in 2008, but it wasn't until about 2011, 2012 that he quit his program in university, moved to New York to try to chase his dream, was cut off financially by his family. As an aside, if you're cut off financially by your family, it means you had a privileged life. So they were helping you out, they were providing you, so in no way was this guy, living a bad life. New York didn't work out, he ended up moving to LA, he ended up connecting with some other friends and they were working on a project together, ended up finding himself in Just Blaze's basement. Sooner or later, he ended up in a studio session with T.I. and T.I. started freestyling over some of his beats. Some months pass, Kanye West gets wind of this and he ends up on the Cruel Summer compilation album back in 2012 with, of course, the lead single being Mercy. Now, Travis Scott was signed to the Very Good Beats section of Good Music because he was used as an in-house producer. In 2013, he released his first mixtape, Owl Pharaoh, that was followed up in 2014 by Days Before Rodeo, of course sort of like a precursor to his Rodeo album that was released in September of 2015, assisted by the lead single Antidote. And of course, let's not forget that before his album was actually released in September of 2015, he was featured on Drake's mixtape / album, If You're Reading This It's Too Late, back in February of 2015. Now, in May of 2016, he made an announcement as to what his second or sophomore album would be, his follow-up to Rodeo, and what his third album would be. So we got an announcement for Birds in the Trap Sing McKnight, which was his album released in September of 2016, led by the single Goosebumps featuring Kendrick Lamar. Mama dare spare your feelings, I'm reliving moments peeling to residual. So we got that second album in the September, but he also announced Astroworld at the exact same time, and people were waiting. Where the hell is Astroworld? What's gonna happen with Astroworld? We got the collaboration album between him and Quavo called Huncho Jack Huncho. That was in 2017, so about 8-9 months ago we got that. People were just waiting and anticipating. Is Astroworld ever gonna come out? It sort of became a bit of a meme for a little bit of time, even though it's only been a 2-year gap. That is nothing compared to the likes of Detox by Dr. Dre, for example, which has been scrapped multiple times and has not been released as well. But we ended up getting the single Butterfly Effect, and of course that had a music video with it, so people were thinking, okay, Astroworld might actually be a thing, it might be a possibility. And of course it wasn't until about a couple weeks ago he made an announcement, Astroworld is coming out August 3rd, and lo and behold, we got it. We got Astroworld. It has a lot of expectations riding on it. There's a lot riding on this thing right now. Travis Scott has said that this is technically the sequel and should be his second album as a follow-up to Rodeo. So without further ado, let's listen to this thing and review this album. Alright, this is track number 1 called Stargazing. I like those cuts right there. Nice melody. Oh, it's a switch up, isn't it? It's gonna switch up. Woo-hoo-hoo! Roller coaster. Woo! What the hell is this?
Okay, I've been up for some days, I ain't got time to lay. Just a nosebleed. And she hit that booger sugar till the nosebleed. I said shit forever, she on both knees. She was talking about forever, got a hold me. But she keep my dick jumping out there like a Moby. I'm way too gold, but just leave him like a Cudi. Yeah.
That was a dope intro to this album. I like how it switched up. And you saw my first reaction. I knew that was coming. Just the way that the instrumental kind of backed out a little bit. We didn't have the percussion anymore. It dipped down. You had this woman singing over it, sort of harmonizing like a choir. It was just ramping up for something. And then it just cut off. And then all of a sudden the beat came back. But he made that one Moby Dick punchline. That was jokes. It was like a roller coaster. You had the roller coaster sound effects on there as well. But you can tell he's really going with this Astroworld theme, and I think that's the kind of ride that I'm in for. So I like the way this album has started so far. Already very atmospheric, which is characteristic of Travis Scott. So I like that. He hasn't steered away from that because that is his unique sound, and that's what a lot of people are trying to copy. Alright, track number 2 featuring Frank Ocean called Carousel.
Parked the days in and taking no days in. Don't need a vacation, I need a replacement. New world, new sky, that's so blue, it's like to
Frank Ocean.
New growth, all these faces I grew. Bitch, I'm too cold, see my breath, visible. Yeah, icy cold, it is so icy cold. Yeah. Speak out, oh, sprinkling methamphetamines on the leaves like the snow.
I'm too cold, see my breath visible. Nice. I really like how that song started. It was sort of like a bass that was going in and out, almost like a pulse. You could hear it going in and out, so you can tell it was kind of like somebody was sitting there behind the boards, behind the faders, and was just kind of like ramping it up, bringing it down, ramping it up, bringing it down. For me, that kind of went with the theme of a carousel, especially with the vocal sample in the background that's used as a part of the instrumental, where it's just going, oh, oh, oh. It sounds like it's almost panning left and right. So if there was a carousel right in front of me and someone who's sitting in one of the little cars of the carousel was saying, oh, you know, I would almost experience that effect. I like how atmospheric these things are. Frank Ocean, great to hear him here. The fact that I just heard Frank, I'm just like, man, I really miss him. Ever since Blonde, I really want him to release his third album. We need something after Blonde, so I'm just waiting for that right now. But they had good chemistry on this track. It went together really nice. I like the whole brand new, brand new. Alright, track number 3, Sicko Mode, featuring Drake.
Yeah. Gone on you with the pick and roll. Young and flame, he in sicko mode. Both at the gate outside, when they pull up, they give me
what?
Yeah, jump out boys, that's Nike boys hopping up. I might take all my exes and put them all in a group. Hit my essays, I need the booch. In the 305, bitches treat me like I'm Uncle Luke. Let's lock the top off, it's just a roof.
That is nasty. Oh, this is a Drake type beat right here. Drake's coming in. There we go.
Yeah. When I shoot my shot, that shit wetty like on Sheck. See the shots that I took. Baby mama cover fours, got these other bitches shook.
Yes. That was something else, man. Jeez, the beat switched up. I like the back and forth, the calling out near the end between Travis and Drake. But I like how they both had their segments to shine. Kind of went well with the name of the song too, Sicko Mode, but it was hard to tell it was the same song. I actually thought the song had switched at some point. Not to mention those nasty transitions, those dirty, grimy, distorted effects. They are paying a lot of attention to detail to capture this atmosphere. I really like that. That was nice. So far this album, man, 3 tracks in, it's pretty solid, so I'm pretty excited to hear the rest of it. This is track number 4 called Rip Screw, of course in reference to DJ Screw, and it's featuring Swae Lee from Ray Shremmerd. DJ Screw, chopped and screwed, always very slow. It's a dedication. This is chill. This is really chill right here.
Platinum don't do chrome like me. At the Southside fade, now let the braids hang.
That was cool. It wasn't anything special. It was just a moment to kind of have a breather, to take it slow on the album, especially since the first 3 tracks have been quite intense in the energy that they do have. Pay homage to DJ Screw, who has the classic chopped and screw sound, and nothing out of the ordinary for what Swae Lee from Ray Shremmer does or what Travis Scott does, but they went together quite nice. I like the chemistry so far between Travis and the other artists that have been featured. This is track number 5, Stop Trying to Be God, featuring James Blake, Kid Cudi, and Stevie Wonder. Sounds like I'm in a theme park, man. This Astroworld thing is really, he's playing it out nice. That's Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi's vocals in the back.
Stop trying to be Ride for it every night. Cause they're dropping control of landing. Yeah.
Oh man.
Stop trying to be That's not who you are.
Beautiful. It's getting me right here, man.
Stop trying to play God Almighty. Cause they deny create commandments. When you hustle, always make it fantasy. Stop trying to be
Wow. There are very few songs, especially in hip-hop, that will evoke those sorts of emotions, especially in me. Very few. This one managed to do it, and I did not think that the next song that ends up having that sort of effect on me is going to end up being on a Travis Scott album. Holy shit, man. That was a journey. That was a deep song. Stop Trying to Be God. Kid Cudi coming off of his Kids See Ghosts type of vibe. That was a beautiful accompaniment to this. The harmonica. Fucking Stevie Wonder's harmonica, man. I was just picturing him. When I had my eyes closed, I was picturing him playing it. James Blake, man, at the end, that was a nice melody at the end, a nice harmony. That was a beautiful wrap up to the song. I did not understand where the transition occurred so seamlessly between the hip hop point towards the end. This was a great song. Alright, this is track number 6, No Bystanders, featuring Juice WRLD. This is like Antidote Part 2.
Heartbreak hotel, but you can't take no L's. Love like AOL. Who said that ain't no
Beat switch. Switch it up a bit. It's really give it or take it for me with this song. I'm not the biggest fan of Juice WRLD. That song was kind of whatever for me, but I can see it doing very, very well in a club, in a concert, when he's performing it on tour. This is one that people are going to cause, mayhem. There's going to be a mosh pit. There's going to be something with a song like this, especially that part where they keep saying, fuck the club up. Fuck the club up, bitch! I will add though, especially that part where he kind of got rid of those vocal effects and he was actually rapping, he sounded pretty good. He's not one to be known for rapping as far as I'm concerned. He's more of a trap artist and he likes those melodies a lot more. He doesn't kind of go in terms of bars, but I thought that was pretty good. It would be nice to hear more of that, but I know he just loves the melodies and creating these atmospheres, so I can't hold that against him. Track number 7, Skeletons, featuring The Weeknd, Tame Impala, and Pharrell. That sample sounds familiar. I've heard this before.
sex. If she take her titties out, do you expect checks? First visit, I gave her a pearl necklace. Can't be turned.
The Weeknd. So I figured out while I was listening to it what song that reminds me of or where the sample is from. Pride, off of Damn by Kendrick Lamar. Of course it sounds a little bit more mellow, but it seems like the same chords are being played. The atmosphere in the background that's going on is very similar. That was a nice song though. I could barely hear Pharrell. I heard him just a few points here and there with some vocals. Of course I'm sure there's some additions in terms of production. The Weeknd sounded nice. So far, I'm getting all these bits and pieces of this roller coaster ride, or finding my way through Astroworld. So he's taken us on a nice little journey. I actually like this so far. This is track number 8, Wake Up.
I don't wanna wake up. I want you spread out on the sheets under my feet. Woo! I don't wanna wake up. To your hood. Say you was in the crowd. I never looked. Looking back, I just came back around. This is so good. This is so sweet. When I wake up under my feet. When I wake up, you decide if I live or die. I just want your body close to me. Girl, that pussy's so sweet.
Word!
I don't wanna wake up.
Ooh. You hear that? That's the darkness. That's Weeknd darkness. I don't wanna wake up. Get me out of my sheets. That is catchy as hell. That was perfect. You know what? Just like when I heard Frank Ocean on track number 2, Carousel, I am really looking forward to the follow-up to My Dear Melancholy. And he just posted a photo recently of him in front of a computer and some studio speakers, so you know he's recording some new music. I hope Bella Hadid is not influencing that in some way where he's back in his lovey-dovey phase. I like Weeknd when he's in a dark place. I know that sounds really shitty, but I like him in a dark place. Either way, this song was great. This is going to be a go-to in terms of replay for me. This has a lot of replay value. Number 9, 5% Tint. Like that piano.
Who that creeping on the tennis dark? 5%. All that fall in love, she got it, Kevin Hart. Took it to the end zone from the end zone. Though I love to smoke, you love to lick more.
Love that effect, man. Any track you hit me up with that, that's where it's at. Woo! Just spit some shit over this. .5% Tint, especially with that piano. I thought it was going to go in a different direction. I thought he was actually going to spit some more bars just because of the way the beat was. It was suitable for that. But he just wrote it a completely different way. I mean, I think other artists can hop on this and it would still sound pretty hot. That was a sweet beat. I like the way we had this sort of cinematic feel going on towards the end. And I could just in the distance barely hear the piano keys being hit. I thought it was going to come back and there was going to be a beat switch to something a lot more aggressive. It's okay that there wasn't. I feel like there was potential to explore that a little bit more. That's one thing I would have done differently, but it was a nice song. I like 5% Tint. It sounded pretty great. Track number 10, NC-17 featuring 21 Savage. This already sounds like something 21 Savage would be on.
Ooh, me and my bitch, I swear we like the same sex. Ooh, we do vibe, just stop vibrate.
That antidote melody again.
Don't do big girls, we do not swing sets. Even Apple name got my bangs wet. We gon' have to change for the banquet. bitches thinking they my main bitch. Hit the club and swap the hoes I came with. Nutted on her cheek, her new nickname is Babyface.
This track featuring 21 Savage, I like. It's a chill song. I wouldn't want to hear it all of the time, but I've taken a liking to 21 Savage over time. I don't really check for his stuff. He has a unique voice. He doesn't sound like everyone else, and I think that's a breath of fresh air, especially right now. I think this ability to be unique and not biting each other's style is coming back. I remember when that was such a big thing, to bite someone's style. Even if you bit a producer's style, it was frowned upon. You were pretty much shunned from hip-hop culture. That apparently is something that people have embraced recently, and I'm glad to see a little bit more unique voices stepping into hip-hop. Number 11, ASTROTHUNDER.
Seems like the life I feel's a little distant, yeah. Seems like the life I need. I can't even get that deep. Told you I don't teach, yeah. Practice on, don't never preach. Practice on, don't never preach.
This is chill. I like that panning effect. Alright, ASTROTHUNDER didn't sound like what I thought it would based on the title. It was a nice, chilled, laid-back song. It reminded me of being in a garden or something in the daytime and hearing birds chirping, or maybe a garden somewhere in a theme park. It's something I would want to listen to when I'm driving during the day, actually, especially when I don't have traffic ahead of me and I'm not driving in the city because Toronto's ridiculous. That was a nice song. It was really relaxing. I would love to keep playing that one back. Alright, we're getting into track number 12. This is Yosemite featuring Nav from Toronto and Gunna.
That's on my knee, flowers begin. Hop off a chick, barely get rich. Cash to the moon, I get a check. You selling run on my fence and my chest. Now that I'm home, back off the road. We shut it down, when they sold. Checks on the streets, get number 4. Sand on my feet, put it on toes. I love a wide open, something You went to school where they teach you for this. My missions for them, you might invest.
I have the same feeling with Yosemite as I had with ASTROTHUNDER. It seems like things have kind of gone down, and I don't mean down in a negative way. I mean the mood has kind of settled. So in this roller coaster, we've kind of went over the hump. We went over whatever double loop we were supposed to go through, and now we're going down into a valley, kind of coasting a little bit. I have a feeling it's going to ramp up somewhere towards the end, but the mood has definitely shifted in the last few tracks compared to the beginning of the album. Similar to ASTROTHUNDER, a song that I would just want to listen to while I'm driving, and it just kind of gets me into a mood, so I'll just vibe out to it. There's nothing really crazy going on about it. This is track 13, Can't Say, featuring Don Toliver.
Drink you real, I can't be fake, but know the feel. Gotta take a long drive up the hill. I'm do everything I need to live.
That reminds me of Paul Wall.
Can't say I'm bad enough. Smoking on the weed, I'm on the alcohol. Shawty make me clean the way she suck me off. I keep 2 ounces in my bed, I got 'em.
That one was a banger. That's going to do very well in the clubs. That is a sick track to have bumping in your car. And Don Toliver sounded like a new age Akon. He sounded very much like Akon, almost hitting the same exact notes and register. The voice was quite similar, but he just had that new age flow. So it's like a Akon 2.0 for Don Toliver. But that was a nice track, man. That was nice and groovy. This is track number 14 called Who? What? Featuring Offset and Quavo from Migos.
Heard they talking shit about I, who are with and why. I'm alive, just took one to revive. I smacked that ass, she threw it back in self-defense. We took the crib, left the backyard like relax and cuddle up, it's not a movie. Cause why? When shit get this, we twist up and we get fried.
That song was whatever for me. I figured if there's an exclamation mark in the song, it's gonna be crazy, but it was just a freaking name. It was give or take. I can do without it. I can leave it off of this album. I was never a big fan of Migos either. They have a few nice tracks here and there. And that flow near the end too, that was a crazy Bone flow. So for the people who keep saying this is the Migos flow, if you've never heard of Bone Thugs and Harmony, keyword being the harmony, they were one of the first groups to be doing that back in the early 90s. Okay, so check out Bone Thugs and Harmony, specifically Crazy Bone within the group. And that exact same flow he's had on multiple tracks. Okay, track number 15, Butterfly Effect. This was actually released as one of the singles, so there is an accompanying video for this one.
But it's like I cannot change. She caught the waves, just thumbing through my brain. Sweet as candy cane. Drop the top it, let it burn.
That track's cool, you know, I'm kind of on the fence with it. It does have a nice vibe. It's not something that I'm going to go back to and listen to often, but if it's playing, you know, I'll vibe out to it. It has a very underwater aquatic feel to me, at least the instrumental does. And yeah, it's just really relaxed flow, doesn't, you know, go out of pocket too much. It's kind of within its own little space and it stays there. It doesn't experiment too much, so it's, you know, it's give or take for me. This is track number 16, Houston Fornication.
Space cool, back out of the space station. Float around town, do that on the daily. Yeah, handing out the E to the entertainment. Yeah, you know on the side it's popping and it's dangerous. Ain't never free and up and never let y'all, man. We always forget, but don't forget easily. The space station. If it rides on the east, land on the west, we gon' make that shit pop, bust it for a check.
I like the way the flow was kind of picking up halfway through the song. It was kind of speeding up a little bit. The instrumentation changed somewhere in between, especially with regards to how the hi-hat was going. He was just kind of riding the beat a little bit differently, at least to my ears. I like that. It seemed like it was building up to something. This one, again, this was another track that wasn't being too adventurous. I'm assuming this is to just kind of give our ears and our mind a bit of a rest because we've been on this wild ride. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the last track and how he's going to end that, at least what kind of note it will be ended on. Alright, we did it. We're here. We're at the last track, track number 17, Coffee Bean. This one's a little bit more hip-hoppy, less trap.
Shawty, we can be mad cool. Just hit me if anything past due. Your family told you I'm a bad move. Plus I'm already a black dude. Leaving the bathroom, my hands all the money in cars. Stripper hoes in the tattoos. Bad news. Back off a coffee bean, reflecting on all these fees.
Okay. Okay, spitting.
Bad news. I'm just bad news.
That was dope. That was a little bit more up my alley in terms of the vibe. That was definitely like a late 90s, early 2000s type of sound that you might get from like Mos Def, Talib Kweli, or Outkast. The beat had influences of Kanye, especially at the end with the vocoder effects kind of layered with the guitar and I think it was a cello. That sounded very much like things you would have seen on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. So there's a Kanye West Pharrell influence there, especially with the bounce, and I like the way he rapped over that. He actually was spitting some crazy stuff and he had a nice flow over that. I was not expecting that from him, but it did sound nice. Talking a little bit about him being bad news, it seems like he's talking about Kylie Jenner and how potentially her family, the Kardashians, view him in terms of being an influence on her, or just whether or not he's the right person for her. That was a nice closer. It was different from what I was expecting for a closer, and I like the fact that it wasn't what I was expecting. My overall feeling for this album, while it was 17 tracks, which kind of seems long, the album was only about somewhere between 55 minutes to about an hour. so it was the perfect length. I am kind of getting tired of those full-length albums that are packed to the brim to like 78 minutes. So this was a little bit easier to listen to. I like that the songs were shorter, so there was a bit of a switch up and variety a lot quicker before you got tired of them. From the onset, we were in for a roller coaster ride. The first few tracks were completely solid. There were some points that were dips for me. I think there are about 4 tracks that I would get rid of. I'd have to go back and listen to them and tell you which ones exactly. There were a few songs that really made this album for me. I was originally going to comment before I got to the end on how Travis Scott is not a good MC. By no means is he trying to be a lyrical miracle type of rapper and spit bars, but on that last track, Coffee Bean, he showed that he could have some substance and he doesn't need his voice to necessarily go through the auto-tune or the vocoder to always give that melody and to kind of distract us from the lyrics being subpar or lackluster. He's an amazing producer. Everything in this album was very cohesive. He has shown us that he is able to put together an amazingly solid project. Even those tracks that I would like to discard aside, I mean 13 out of 17 I really liked. That's pretty good, especially in today's day and age. I think the features on this were solid. They complemented each other greatly. I don't think anybody outshined or kind of stood out too much. Everyone was sort of on the same level, almost like they're working together and it's like a partnership or something. But man, people were just complimenting each other, going back and forth. The soundscapes were amazing, very atmospheric, very open, kind of like ear candy. It was just this sonic experience that we haven't been on in a while. The production was very tight, cohesive, consistent. This is a great album. It lived up to the hype that people were building it up to have and all those expectations that people were putting on Travis Scott. I think this very much lived up to it. This is going to change the trajectory of his career 100%. This is going to change things for him. He's going to be featured on a lot more tracks. I guarantee you. Watch, this is exactly what's gonna happen. He's in a whole different stratosphere right now just because of this project. And one other comment I wanna make, we have had so many amazing releases this year that I think 2018, in retrospect, when we look at it in the future, it's gonna go down as the golden era or one of the golden eras or golden years of hip hop. Of course, 1988, a lot of crazy things were happening at that time. 1994, insane. We had Illmatic, we had Ready to Die, I mean we had Wu-Tang, we had all sorts of stuff popping off at that time. J. Rule the Damager, there was just so much happening. But right now, 2018, Black Thought, Royce the 5'9", The Weeknd with My Dear Melancholy, going back to that trilogy sound. We had Travis Scott, we had Kanye West, we had Kid Cudi and Kanye West, Pusha T, J. Cole, Drake, even though I'm not the biggest fan, but you know, people love when he drops and he broke a lot of records. There are just so many releases right now that have been great, so many that I've forgotten about, escaping me right now. But this is gonna go down as one of those years we're gonna look back at and say, damn, we had a lot of variety. Anyway, YouTube, this is your boy, Bearded Kingface, aka Essential. Subscribe to my channel, send it over to your friends, hit the notification bell, tell everybody about me. Like the video, comment, show some love, get this thing to grow, and we're gonna be on this journey together. So until next time, peace.